Your unique story, our global audience. Global One Media.
Welcome to Global One Media's exclusive one-on-one discussions with company executives as they share insights into their unique journey. I'm your host, Ashley Berry, and we're thrilled you're joining us. Today, we are welcoming Curt Huber, President, CEO, and Chairman of the Board at Global Hemp Group, and Special Medical Advisor, Dr. Stephen Barnhill. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. Global Hemp Group delivers innovative, green, and sustainable solutions for building materials, biocomposites, textiles, non-woven items, and other products based from hemp. They're listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange and the Frankfurt Exchange as GHG. So, Curt, I'd like to start with you. Perhaps you can give us an overview of the company for the viewers who are not so familiar with Global Hemp Group. You have a fascinating story. Tell us a little bit more about what you do, how did it all start, and what is your vision for the future?
Sure. Global Hemp Group actually started in 2014. The founder of the company, a gentleman by the name of Charlie Larson, had moved out of the financial industry and actually had great fascination with hemp and actually began pursuing that. We always had the vision of the industrial aspects of hemp would be the predominant use of hemp. But the world got sidetracked along the way with CBD, and everybody went in that direction for a period of time simply because the money was there. But a couple of years ago, we reverted back to our original vision of taking the complete hemp plant and actually utilizing it for industrial purposes. So to that end, we created an R&D division with a very knowledgeable group out of Mexico who are looking at those type of projects, as well as we created what we call our hemp agro-industrial zone, which is a vision to take the complete plant processing and utilize it in various products.
Really fascinating. I'd like to ask Dr. Barnhill, of course, you recently joined the company as its special medical advisor, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the natural biologics drug discovery and why it is so important.
Sure. Well, as you can imagine, natural biologic drug discovery is a bit different than what Curt just described. Mm-hmm. So the company is kind of moving in two directions at this point. One would be the industrial hemp direction that he mentioned, and one is going to be in this type of drug discovery that Apollon is doing, which is the company that I'm chairman and CEO of that has granted these licenses to GHG. So as you might know, actually, about 70 to 80% of all of the drugs that we've had in the past 25 years have come from natural products. In particular, with the cancer industry, about half of all the anti-cancer drugs since the 1940s have also come from natural products. Mm-hmm. So one of the best examples of that is Taxol. Taxol is used for cancer, also known as Paxil-Taxol, and it is one of the strongest cancer drugs on the market, and it comes from the Pacific yew tree. And 2021, the market for Taxol was $4.5 billion globally. So a lot of drugs, in particular, a lot of anti-cancer drugs actually come from the natural biologic space. And what we do is we use artificial intelligence techniques, which is something I've been involved with most of my career, to identify the specific compounds that are in these natural biologics, like medical cannabis, like functional mushrooms, like psychedelic mushrooms, like the Japanese yew tree, all of these natural products. We identify the compounds that make them work most effectively. And then we combine those compounds together. That's what really makes us unique from multiple different natural biologics to create a very efficient, synergistically based therapeutic.
To me, it really sounds like fascinating, life-saving research, what you're involved with. Curt, we've read the recent exciting update from your company. As Dr. Barnhill just mentioned, Global Hemp Group has signed a binding letter of intent with Apollon Formularies. Congratulations. What are the terms of that agreement specifically, and how will it benefit both companies, you think?
Well, as Dr. Barnhill alluded to, we are adding a new direction to our industrial hemp aspect of the company. And so signing this binding LOI has given us an opportunity to expand what we are doing. So the first thing that it's really a two-part LOI. The first part is we've gained exclusive licenses from Apollon for their patents and test data, basically their IP for certain aspects of what they're doing for the North American market. So we're talking Canada, US, and Mexico. That part of the acquisition has been done. We announced just today, as a matter of fact, that the signing of the exclusive licensing agreement was now complete. So that part is done. There's a second part to the binding LOI, which is much more encompassing, and it is an option to acquire all the assets of Apollon. Now, the important part about these patents and this IP is that Dr. Barnhill, who is the president of Apollon, but he's also the creator of this IP. So now with him joining our team, we're able to work towards marketing, sub-licensing, and expanding the vision that Apollon has. Over the next 60 days, we both are doing our due diligence. We will complete that due diligence, and I'm assuming that, of course, it's going to go well, and we're going to exercise our option to acquire the assets of the company and bring them all under the umbrella of Global Hemp. And that's going to make for, a bigger team, more funding opportunities, and a group of people that can work together here.
Terrific. Dr. Barnhill, Curt had talked about the exclusive license with Apollon. What does this mean for patients and for customers specifically?
Well, that is really the great news, Ashley, because what it means is the products can now be made available through licensed legal manufacturers, distributors, retailers throughout the countries he mentioned, and in particular in the United States, to make these products available to patients in all of these locations. And that's what really excites us about this deal, because I believe that there are well in excess of 10,000 manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. And because of that, these are all potential sub-licensees of this intellectual property. In particular in the United States, since it's a state-by-state legal market, you can find partners that fit those categories that are legally licensed that may want an exclusive for California or an exclusive for Florida or an exclusive for Colorado or New York. And now GHG will have the ability to sub-license to all of those people, not only in the US, but in Canada and Mexico, to be able to get the products out to more patients and their doctors quickly.
So this just brings me, I think about these cancer patients. I know you're deeply involved in the research, Dr. Barnhill, but I would love to hear if you hear any stories from patients about what this potentially could mean for their quality of life.
Oh, well, the patients are very excited, and it's not just the patient testimonials. My background has been in biotech and pharma for 35 years. I'm a medical doctor by training. And what we've done is we have taken this to another level of scientific validation. So we recently had our formulations tested at an independent third-party laboratory called BioInsys in the United States. We don't have anything to do with the testing. You send them the formulations. They don't know if it's a new molecule, a synthetic, whether it's medical cannabis, whether it's functional mushrooms or psychedelic mushrooms. They have no idea. They just do the testing. And we have 2 press releases that Apollon has put out already showing that we killed prostate cancer cells and breast cancer cells with near 100% kill rate. And when I was talking about the synergistic effect, what we showed was that the medical cannabis formulations killed these cancer cells in breast and prostate cancer by what's called direct cytotoxicity. That means it killed the cancer when it touched it, right? Like chemotherapy works.
Sure.
But we found that the compounds in the mushrooms work by immune stimulated cell killing. So it kills through the NK cells of the immune system, as well as the macrophages of the immune system. And that's how you see many of these targeted therapeutics working now today, like the immune targeted drugs like Herceptin and Keytruda and things like that. So synergistically now we're killing these cancer cells by 3 completely separate pathways. 2 of them being through activation of the immune system and 1 being through direct cytotoxicity.
Absolutely fascinating. Just, in that same line of thought, can you just talk a little bit about some of the upcoming clinical trials that would validate these results in more depth?
Yes, so we have treatment facilities in Jamaica where these products are already available by prescription. Apollon recently opened the International Cancer and Chronic Pain Institute in Jamaica. We also recently purchased Sativa Jamaica, which was originally started by Josh Stanley, who is one of the founders of Charlotte's Web. And we also have a medical tourism facility in Negril, Jamaica, where international patients come in specifically for these treatments. But in addition to that, and more specific to your question, we are beginning clinical trials very soon. And we hope to have the first 6 done on 6 different cancers, plus 1 on chronic pain, completed in 2023.
Fantastic. Wow.
And our headquarters in Jamaica is actually at the medical school at the University of the West Indies. And we have manufacturing and cultivation capabilities. And we're also fully licensed through the Cannabis License Authority. So the beauty of that is you have to be licensed in cannabis in order to put things into cannabis to make combinatorial therapeutics. So we're in a very unique situation for developing these. And I am the inventor of the 4 patents, as Curt mentioned, that we licensed, that Apollon licensed to GHG. But in addition, I'm an inventor on more than 80 patents globally related to artificial intelligence and cancer diagnostics and therapeutics over the years.
Wow. The AI component of this really fascinates me. And I don't think people know or understand what it is that your company is doing, both companies, and the lives that are going to be impacted. Curt, I'd like to ask you, we're talking about some pretty amazing things here. What other equally important milestones are you working on from 2023?
Well, obviously, we're going to continue developing the projects that we have been working on. In particular, our R&D division is looking to file a couple of patents in this first quarter of this year, going back to alternative building materials made out of hemp, for an example. But, certainly the most important milestone will be 60 days from now is if we exercise our option and acquire the assets of Apollon. You can see that based on what Doc was telling us, Apollon's got a lot of stuff going on, and we are, really interested to be involved in all the aspects that Apollon is currently involved in.
And we're talking about, 60 days ahead. Let's talk a little bit about long-term horizon. What factors do you think will boost the market valuation of Global Hemp Corp?
Well, certainly if you look out over the 2023 and, let's assume that we exercise our option, we acquire the assets of Apollon. The clinical trials that Dr. Barnhill talked about will stretch during the course of 2023. They'll be in varying lengths depending on the type of cancer it is. But, you get to the other end of the year and you have 6 clinical trials complete. And if they have results anything like his preclinical trials that he's done so far, it's going to change the valuation. It'll create a very different valuation in the company. And if you look there's some current examples, and a lot of your viewers may know GW Pharma, for example, who have been instrumental in creating patented. They did their clinical trials and have patented IP in the CBD side of things. They were recently acquired, and a very, very large number. So there's a couple of examples out there like that have that opportunity. If you go through the path that they're on now, completing what they're working on, you're going to see a very different valuation than what you see today.
Fascinating. And, I just think about the incredible solutions that Global Hemp Group is producing right now, working on. I am just thrilled to have this conversation with both of you. Curt Huber, President, CEO, and Chairman of the Board at Global Hemp Group, and Special Medical Advisor, Dr. Stephen Barnhill. Such a pleasure speaking with both of you today. Thank you for sharing this really valuable insight and exciting news coming up here in 2023 with your company. We certainly look forward to sharing updates about your great work with our audience.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. And we look forward to sharing these updates with you. They're going to be very exciting.